Always remember, your focus determines your reality. Stay close to me, and you'll be safe.
Hey guys, how you doing? So in this video, we're going to talk about and cover the similar lineup that we were using in what was it, like a week or two ago for the Mace fleet that can semi-auto, just a normal standard Houndstooth, Falcon with Biggs lineup, the Akbar fleet. But in this one, we're gonna change it up a little bit. We're gonna go and take on Bistans. So in most of these, it's just gonna be Falcon, Bistan, and then Biggs. And then for reinforcements that change depending on who I'm fighting, the ones that are a little bit tougher are the ones that have Phantom and Cassian in the reinforcement. Some of them I did fight, and honestly I didn't find too much of a problem. But just to forewarn you guys, if you were to run this team, you really need to have a maxed out Houndstooth. If you don't have a maxed out Houndstooth, you can't be soaking up all the extra damage, and it just really won't work too well. And in this lineup, it's really important to have Xanadu Blood in here, because the Breach needs to stay up on the field at all times. And then his assist, you call Houndstooth, he dispels and gains more HP and protection. And another important one is Ebon Hawk. You want him to be called in first for the reinforcement, dispel all the buffs, and then do some nice damage on Bistan, because you need to kill Bistan pretty quick in the battle. And if you don't, he's going to just keep on regaining the turn meter and give it to other people, and you don't want to have that happen. So without further ado, guys, let's get into the battle for today. Okay, so this is the first of two. This one, there's one of these ships is a 6-star, and I think it was the Bistan. I'm almost certain it was. I did this battle a few days ago. But pretty much, you get Houndstooth's turn, do his taunt there, make sure the Breach is sticking. If not, you should be okay anyways, because Bistan or XB will be going next. But in this case, it's stuck, and you can call him in and dispel the buffs. So now, first turn with the Mace's ship, you always want to do the that move where it gains Valor to everybody. That way you can get closer to his ultimate with the extra protection regain. And then for the first reinforcement, you want to call in Ebon Hawk, like I just mentioned, dispel the buffs. And so the Biggs was pretty low in this one. If he wasn't low, I would probably not go for him and go for Bistan instead. But we were able to kill him first, so that's nice to see. So Houndstooth comes in as the first reinforcement, gets some more dispelling there of the debuffs. And the cool thing here, I know people don't like Mace's whole capital ship, but really that taunt right there is so big in all these fights. The fact that we have somebody who can inflict breach on a basic and somebody who does it on a special, that taunt can just last you so long in these fights, guys. Another thing that you probably want to know that these battles do go on for a very long time, and I have been able to time myself out in a couple of them, but that's only happened probably 2 out of 15 battles I've had. But yeah, if you know what you're doing, it shouldn't be that big of a problem. And so now we got Phantom as reinforcement. We did call in our Ahsoka. I don't know if it's better to call her in or Anakin. I guess it depends on whether or not Breach is on the field at that point, because if you call in Anakin, you don't want him to use his AoE. It's just kind of a waste, because he's going to just dispel it anyways, right? And still keep the taunt. So now our Houndstooth is a bit low, so what we're trying to do here is just try to keep using basics with Ebon Hawk, because he gives out TM for everybody else who has a buff. Or I guess no, it's actually a random person who has a buff, so it's kind of random, but still it's really nice to see. So I'm going to hold off on the ultimate there. I want to get an Anakin before I do anything else. And now I'm going to do an AoE here, almost take out Bistan. Bistan being in here still kind of causes a problem. He does some nice damage, and he can give out extra TM whenever somebody gets target locked. So you really do want to kill him as soon as possible. In this fight, we kind of held it off until the last minute here. Just then we killed him. So now we're going to try to whittle them down here. But we are taking some big hits. Try to kill a Wedge. Almost one shot. And then Ebon Hawk will finish up there. Nice. So now we get more of these assists here. More stealth. So XB is really clutch here, because he's going to be stealth up a lot of these times, and since at these end of battles, you'll pretty much have protection up from the ultimate almost always. That stealth is really nice, so he can continue doing his nice breaches, his double taps, and his assists. And one thing about his kit, whenever bounty hunter ally or any bounty hunters on the field are there and breaches on the board, they deal extra damage based on their HP whenever they're attacking somebody with breach. So that's pretty cool to know. And then boom, Anakin just did a huge AoE there and cleared out the Phantom. And now we're gonna just call in our Consular. And honestly, the last reinforcement doesn't matter too much in my opinion. In my experience also, it doesn't matter too much. I just prefer Consular because of his extra assist. And that way I call in Anakin. And typically Anakin does survive most of these battles if you call him in a little bit later on. And the assist will almost one-shot just about anybody in this game. So now we're going to do a special here, do the Valor. And the big hit there on Ahsoka was enough to deal it. And so yeah, that's the first one. Let's talk about the next one. Okay, so when I'm mentioning the extra TM, here it is on Ebon Hawk. So it says, grant another random buffed ally 15% TM for each attack. And he attacks twice, so potentially if there's like one other ally there that has a buff, that ally is going to gain 30% TM. And then another thing that's important to note here is that right here it says he gains 30% TM each time he scores a critical hit. So he has the potential of gaining 60% TM if he crits twice, and his basic does hit twice. So that's kind of why you want to be sticking with the basics here on the Ebon Hawk, granting your allies more TM, not worrying too much about other specials like the one here that's T3s, the buff immunity one, and even this one's not that great either. So really, this is more of a support ship. You want to be calling him in to assist, dispelling the buffs, and then doing some nice double taps, getting more TM on the board. And that's kind of how you want to run Ebon Hawk. And then the other one I was talking about a little bit was Xanadu Blood. And the nice thing here, when you're either the first turn we were showing there was his special here, and this is the call to assist one. And it's nice when you're able to use this first turn because you're going to be able to call in Houndstooth and dispelling those debuffs on him, and then he also gains extra HP protection whenever he does his basic, because that's how Houndstooth is. And then also it shows here it inflicts target lock on the weakest enemy, and typically Bistan's going to be the weakest enemy in here, so first turn you're going to be able to inflict target lock and then use the Valor special on Mace Windu, which does AoEs to target locked enemies, so it's going to hit Bistan and the Taunter, and typically it's going to be Biggs. So that's really nice to know there as well. And also there's a couple things I want to talk about here on XB. So he has a chance, a 65% chance to attack again, and it inflicts breach every single time. There is no like percent chance there, but they can be resisted. That's the thing you want to know. So, but for the most part, it's a pretty good chance of it sticking, and there's only a few times where it doesn't, but that's okay. Okay, so this is probably my favorite part to this entire ship's kit. So he gains stealth for one turn at the start of encounter, and whenever another scoundrel ally suffers a critical hit. And when Houndstooth is taunting, he's going to be critical hit all the time, so pretty much the entire battle he's going to be stealthed. And then another thing nice to know here is bounty hunter allies deal bonus damage equal to 10% of the target's max HP when damaging breached allies or breached enemies. And when you're attacking these guys, it's going to be Biggs and Bistan and anybody else that taunts like a Houndstooth, and dealing that extra % damage really just burns through some of these guys. And if you get the double tap on basic, you're going to be able to clear them out in like one turn. And then last but not least, here it says breached enemies have a minus 25% offense, so that's nice to know there as well. Okay, so for this last battle, we're going to use, instead of Consular, we're going to test out the Umbaran Starfighter, the 5th ship. So the starting volley of hits really landed on Houndstooth, which is probably the best thing that could happen there for us. And now we're going to be able to use the special here, dispel all those debuffs, and then use Rex's TM gain, give it to Houndstooth, and then we were able to do the Valor move right there on Mace, and we were able to just kill Biggs like before he could even take a turn, which is amazing to see. And in some cases you can do that. The mods on this Biggs is not, they're not like all 6E, so his HP and protection aren't going to be crazy high, but this guy's Bistan does have some 6Es, his Pathfinder doesn't, but it's okay. This is pretty close to being maxed out here. His Han and Chewie are maxed out in the mods. We can go over the mods later on, but we just lost Rex a little bit ago, and now we're trying to kill Bistan before he can do anything crazy to us. And we're gonna just give the Tom back up to Houndstooth because we still have a breached ally here, or breached enemy rather. I don't know why I keep saying ally. And then do a basic there, grant some more TM. Once it's his turn, he can, you know, dispel all those debuffs he's got. But now we're going to call an Anakin, do a nice big AoE, take out Bistan, and inflict both healing immunity and buff immunity on Bosk. And now we don't need to worry about him getting extra protection up. We can just kind of laser him with all the extra breaches we have. And nice that we have XP in there, so we can do those nice extra damage hits. So now that he's gone, we're going to try to focus down Phantom because we can't get down to the Falcon just yet. He is still in outmaneuver mode. And we're going to just do that again so we get more Valor. And pretty much, if you didn't know, for the Valor and how it works in a Mace team, he gains, the Mace capital ship gains TM whenever you give, or whenever an enemy has Valor. And another thing, they gain extra offense and defense based on the Valor. Quote me if I'm wrong there on his gaining extra TM. We might need to go check that out a little bit later on in this video, but I'm pretty sure for the most part that's how it works. Okay, so now we're trying to get the protection up ultimate on, but we already killed the Falcon, so we pretty much won at this point. So yeah, this is a pretty good team. The uses for it outside of just arena, you can really use this pretty well in a GA team because you're not taking away anybody from your Rebels team except for Houndstooth. I know some people don't like that, but really, if you think about it, you can use this versus pretty much a maxed out fleet here. Take them out, get a lot of banners, and you're still able to use your whole Rebels fleet on defense. But Houndstooth won't be there because he's a lot more important, in my opinion, in this team. Okay, so I wasn't sure what Valor really did, but now that I'm in this kit, so it does grant the endurance 15% TM and reduce its ultimate abilities cooldown by 1 at the end of a turn. So I'm pretty sure that means at the end of an ally's turn he's going to gain that TM. I'm pretty sure that's how it works, unless it's just whenever Valor is on the board, when the first time it lands on somebody, that's when the TM gain happens. I'm not too sure though, but besides that, they gain extra offense and defense for anybody there, and then doubled for the GR tunes. So all the clones, Anakin and Ahsoka, are all gaining extra offense and defense. Okay, so really quick, let's go over the mods here on the enemy teams we're fighting. So the first battle really wasn't that great of mods, so that's why I'm going to show the second battle's mods. So this is his Falcon in the second battle. We go over everything's maxed for abilities. Let's go over to the mods here. Everything's 6E on Han Solo, and then we go over to Chewie. Same thing there, everything's 6E. The Biggs really wasn't good at all for mods. Even though he doesn't have those great of mods, he does have a lot of HP protection burn through. So that's kind of how Biggs was. And then the main star of the show here for the Bistan, he had a couple 6E mods. He got one on the arrow and the circle. And then we come down to Pathfinder, he has no 6E mods. But really, I think when you incorporate, you know, that speed on top of the extra 25% they're getting, it doesn't matter too much because they're going to be going before me anyways. So this is more of a showcase of, you know, using the abilities on, you know, the Mace fleet and the ones we were just showing you throughout the battle, using it to your advantage, keeping the breach up at all times, doing nice damage when, you know, the opportunity lands for you to do it. But that's kind of how the mods were here. So that's kind of it for today, guys. I don't want to go too much overboard for today's video. This is going to be probably going live after 4th of July because I don't really want to do any videos on the 4th of July. I want to spend that time with my family, but I hope you guys have a good 4th of July. Hopefully it was a good day for you. But yeah, that's it for today. If you guys have any extra questions, let me know on this team. Like I said earlier, it really is necessary to have a maxed out Bosk here. You don't need to worry about too much of anybody else. You can see here that my Ebon Hawk is kind of maxed out with his shard count, but the XP is not. So you are able to pull off some of these wins without everything being maxed. That's it, and I hope you guys enjoy. If you did, make sure you give it a like, share with others, and if you like my type of content, make sure you give me a sub. Besides that, there's a Discord link in the description, and if you do want to support my channel even further, there is a Patreon link as well. That's it for me today, guys, and I will see you later.
Nice.